Hey guys, how's it going? Not a typical video, I guess. Not a sled video. But just kind of a video to fill everybody in on what I do outside of snowmobiles. So I guess by trade, I'm a welder fabricator. I currently am employed for somebody else, but last year and a half I've been doing this stuff at home and just kind of collecting tools and practicing, kind of perfecting my craft and just figuring everything out. Obviously a little bit of extra money doesn't hurt. 40 hours goes into the savings account, and then this stuff is kind of just fun money, buy more tools, stuff like that. But a lot of what I do, get a lot of aluminum boats, thanks to my friend Dan. This is not one of his jobs, but do a lot of the runners on the duck boats for the Shiawassee Flats. So if you guys follow me on Facebook, then you've seen plenty of that. This one here, this is kind of a unique situation, this boat here. A lot of people, this boat would have, they would have scrapped this guy. This thing had cracks all over the place. 4 of the ribs obviously were cracked. The transom looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, it was terrible. Some 50-cent piece size holes. Just everybody had a little bit of everything on this thing. Everybody owned it at one point, seemed like. Just beat to hell. And still plenty more work to do, but repaired some of the ribs. If I had an endless supply of money, or if this guy had an endless supply of money, the thing to do would have been to just start with a new boat. But trying to save this boat, you know, when do you stop, really? You know, so I would have liked to just cut these out, just cut the rivets out, and just put new ribs in. But at what point do you stop? So I decided to stop right here. They were all just cracked down the center. I cut 8 inches out of them all. This one ended up being 9 because the crack was over here. But I cut 8 inches out of the other 3, and then I made up some ribs out of some square tube and some flat stock, and I welded those in. Just cracks all throughout this thing. Holes where people have patched it with rivets and whatnot, silicone and this and that. And so some of those welds don't look the greatest. Back here was kind of the same story back by the transom here. Excuse my mess, but this was all just cracked and split and holes everywhere from this and that and every other thing. And she was just whooped. Like I said, the transom was just gone. So Matt is his name, gentleman's name here. Great guy to deal with, great guy overall. I just said, Matt, why don't we just cut this transom out and just start new? And he said, that sounds great. So we went with some 1/8 inch 11 gauge 125 versus 14 gauge that it had in there. I think that's 090 or 092 or 095. So a little bit thicker just on the transom itself. And then we went with the 2x4 piece of aluminum. I believe this ended up being 65 inches long. And then right in the center here, you see these 2 lines. I actually put a piece of polypropylene in there. Well, 2 pieces, of 1 inch thick strips. And if anybody knows polypropylene, it's a bitch to cut. So cut that down just perfectly to fit inside here. It wound up being a very nice friction fit, exactly what I was looking for. And then once the motor mount is bolted to this main beam, it's not going to go anywhere. Then I added this down here, and then I just cut these stringers out here, these side stringers, just to tie this whole back end of this boat together. Make sure it's bulletproof. This is a 1648. Matt wants to put a 40 horse on it at some point. And he's a duck hunter. I mean, these river boats get beat to hell. I mean, they're just, everybody's rough on them. So I wanted this to be solid. I did not want this to come back because it broke or something. Obviously, we're just still in the middle of it. It's gonna get corner caps that are gonna go in the corners. They're gonna come out a foot on each side, and then I'm gonna bend down. He's got those benches that set in here. I've got to see, I think they come up right to about here, so I'll probably bend a 3.5, 3 3/4 inch lip down on there. They're gonna meet up with he's gonna put I think he said he's gonna put 14 gauge on the benches, and so I'm gonna leave just enough room in there so that it comes down right flush with them benches when the floor's on. Excuse my music here. So got that, and then right in between those benches, I'm gonna put 2 stringers, 2 gussets, elbows that come down here, and I'm probably gonna wind up welding to the ribs. That way he can mount his benches to those gussets, and it's extra support for the main beam. Now you might be saying to yourself, that's a lot of weight, is this thing gonna float? Yes, it is a little bit more weight than what it was originally, but we're gonna go ahead and add some pods on here, weld these pods on from beaver tail. And then you also gotta think, this thing had all the original foam in it, the original wood transom, everything was waterlogged. Matt said he took 180 pounds out of the rear end of this boat. Just wet foam and wet wood. So he's gonna put some closed cell foam in here when he puts the floor in. And plus the pods. And I can tell you right now, everything that I add to this boat won't equal 180 pounds. So that right there is gonna be, he's already gonna be that much better. And as well as the pods, the transom, and all the cracks and whatnot, we're gonna go ahead and put 3 runners on the bottom. If you guys are familiar with my Facebook, you know exactly what I'm talking about with the runners. But maybe when I get this thing flipped over, or when I get a boat flipped over with runners on it, I'll make a video kind of explaining the whole gist of it, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so this is a little bit of a project, but so far pretty happy with it. Matt's extremely happy with it, and that's all that matters. Make sure the customer's happy. So this thing should be bulletproof. Like I told Matt, I said I don't want this thing coming back at all. Not that I don't ever want to see Matt again or deal with him. He's been great to deal with. But I do not want my work failing. I don't want it to disappoint him. I want him to be able to drop a small block in this thing if he wants to. Obviously, we'd have to add some more stringers for that lengthwise, but you get what I'm saying. Make sure this thing's stout and good to go. Got a little bit of a gap over there on that stringer. I cut it a little bit short. Actually, I think that one needs tucked up against the wall a little bit more, so that'll help us out a little bit. Yep, got to go ahead and weld this out. I think I'm probably just going to wind up stitch welding that. I don't know yet, actually, but the whole thing's been welded out on the bottom side and on the sides. Not the most beautiful work I've done, but welding to a 40-year-old boat that's thin as hell, you can only do so much. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd make a little video, let you guys kind of know what I do in the off season outside of winter time and outside of snowmobiles. See, we got some sleds over here. This is going to be a flip sled here, and then a couple ZRTs over there. But Yep, a little something different to shake it up, but appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are interested in more of this kind of stuff, or you know, videos while working on this kind of stuff, maybe I can get into a little bit of that. But so let me know what you guys' thoughts are, and I'll try to keep some more stuff coming at you. So appreciate you guys watching. All right, catch you later. Bye.